Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All
Yeah, I'm
right,
just trying
sweet.
to turn it up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Seems to be working now.
There we go.
Thank you very much for this. I do appreciate you and your time.
No problem. No problem. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's 7 o'clock over here in the UK. It's yeah, the sun's keeping up. Whereas last week it was a bit raining.
Okay.
But the UK, you get all 4 seasons in one day.
Right. Right. Yeah, I haven't been able to make it over yet. So,
Yeah, I meant to have asked you about that. When are you next over?
um, so we were talking about originally we were talking about either June or July. I can't remember. And now it's looking more like I think it was October or something. So,
Yeah, who's that going to be with?
there's a few companies that I'm talking to, so I guess it just depends on who all's running at that time.
Are
Um,
you are you by any chance talking to 1PW?
I'm not. No, I could. I could. Yeah.
Because I can see some your similar style. I can see you with
Somebody
someone here in the UK, and he's very big
nice.
on
Let
the
me
U.
let me
Very,
write that
very,
down, and that way I'll reach out to him.
very big on the UK. His
Very cool.
name's Robbie X. He's very yeah, very
Nice.
good.
Nice. I know of Robbie X. That's awesome. Hell yeah. 1PW.
He's yeah. He recently had a match with Will Ospreay in February, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, your I've been looking at your matches and your style and everything, and his, and you put two and two together. I mean, it can be yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, that'd
it
be
can be
awesome.
yeah, it can be a real banger. I reckon.
Yeah, Robbie. He's killing it right now. So
Yeah,
I would come over there.
very yeah, but he's very talented. He's followed him for a fair few years in the UK because he used to be at a company called Southside.
Oh,
That
okay.
was very good.
Nice. Is
So
that nearby you? 1PW?
they're going
Is
to be
that
doing
close?
a show in June the 10th in Lincoln, where I'm going to be going to. I went to the one in February, but 1PW, they work in Doncaster, like out
Oh,
of
okay.
Doncaster area. And then they do Doncaster, Lincoln. They've gone back and forth for the past 6 months, like
Oh,
six
nice.
months to a year. They came back last year, but COVID stopped everything.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How
Yeah. So
was
how's that going over there? I know um, it wasn't that long ago since they lifted all the restrictions and stuff in
yeah,
Japan.
see, COVID was a weird one over in the UK. Very
Mm,
weird, as in the sense
mm.
of we was one of the countries, to roll out the vaccine very quick, and
Right, right, right.
but then Boris Johnson, bless him, he did a good job. But I mean, everyone makes mistakes, as in the prime ministers and presidents. I mean, everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
But then towards the end, that cost him his job
Mm,
because of
mm.
lying and breaking rules. And uh,
Uh,
I mean, I got COVID myself.
yeah. Yeah, I did too. I did too.
I didn't get it in the UK though,
Where'd you get it?
in Kenya.
Uh,
So
gotcha.
that was a bit of a
How'd
yeah.
you deal with the COVID? How was your body and stuff when you had it?
So I mean, I'm in the forces, so
Mm,
that's very over there. When I was over there, because obviously you can have COVID who has symptoms, you can have COVID who are symptomatic, you can have COVID people who have COVID that don't show symptoms. You can have there was like very
right, right.
different
Yeah, yeah.
scattered about. So I got put in a tent for 2 weeks.
Mm,
So that was a bit honestly, I hated it.
yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, that's terrible.
How was your time in WWE? Did
Ah,
you
that's actually when I got COVID.
really?
Actually, yeah, I got COVID at the PC, and it was like just happened to be like a crazy breakout this one day that we
Yeah.
all just happened to get together to. We had to do like a bunch of ring build and stuff when they were switching over from the previous PC setup to the new building and stuff. And it was just like if one person had it, now we're all just
Yeah, the Thunderdome as well.
right. Yeah. So crazy. But yeah, WWE, my time there, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it became kind of not even for me specifically, but just the general vibe of it there became kind of daunting because the acts just keep coming down and they would just do these kind of like mass cuts and whatever.
yeah,
And I think so people started to get morale was low due to it and just people were on edge, I think, due to it. I don't know, I was fine the whole time. I think just because I was fine before WWE, so it was like, okay, well, if they fire me today, I'm good. Like whatever, So
yeah.
I was never stressed about that. But overall, I thought working there and stuff it's pretty sweet. It was good. Yeah.
Did you have many interactions with Shawn Michaels or Triple H or William Regal?
William Regal a lot. Like that was my main guy. Actually, William Regal's who pretty much brought me in.
Mm.
Like it was me and him the whole time, all the way through the whole like courting process into the whole signing process and everything. So, um, he was like, I don't know, he's who I went to for anything and everything. Not like every little PC
Yeah,
thing, right? But like if I needed anything or wanted to talk about anything or had any ideas or whatever, that's who I went to. And then Shawn and Triple H, I mean, they're very busy, but they're just the normal sort of
yeah,
interactions. Of course, there's like the kind of like work environment interactions. There's, I mean, that anyone I guess would have with their bosses or whatever. But then there's like, I don't know, they were both very, to me, they're both very positive people. They're
mm.
like, it's weird because I think everyone around is sort of like intimidated on a level by them,
Yeah,
right? And it's like, the boss is here, whatever, but they're just so positive. They obviously want what's best for the show, and to want what's best for the show, they want what's best for each individual, on the show or potentially on the show or whatever. For a lot of people at the PC, um, who were still trying to get to the debut point, some of the athletes and stuff who hadn't come up in wrestling and whatever. So yeah, any interaction I ever had with them like was very just in one way or another their way of trying to get the best out of
yeah,
me or whoever they're involved with it. And I don't know, to me it's like a kind of a big takeaway for me working there because then I made sure to always try and carry that same aspect with me into the locker rooms and matches
yeah,
and any creative, even outside of wrestling, any creative thing that I did afterwards was just like make like whatever you're involved in, make sure that you're looking out for it, not just you. And a lot of times in wrestling, we have kind of a problem as wrestlers because like you getting over is it's very
mm.
you based and whatever. And so like a lot of people are just me, and like out for themselves and kind of like backstabby or whatever it can be. I don't have any personal experiences as far as that goes, but I've seen it or I heard about it and whatever. So it's like if there was more camaraderie with people looking out for the show or for the betterment of everyone, right, on the show for
Mm.
their brothers, right? Like yeah, then I think we'd probably get a little further.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
one place I have seen you in quite a bit is GCW,
Mm. Okay.
and you've had pretty well. There's three matches that come to mind. What I think off the top of my head, I like what I've seen you in. You,
Sweet.
you just kill it every time. You've got Tony Deepen.
Mm-hmm.
You and him, unbelievable chemistry. I think back and forth on
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
just unbelievable. It's
Yeah,
one of
shout out to
the
Tony, man. He's an incredible talent, and he's helped me a lot. He won't like take any credit for anything. He'll
Yeah,
be like, no, you did it, whatever. Like that's Tony, but like he's helped me a lot. I mean, even getting me on the Backyard Show.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
no one knew of me before, you know what I mean? So, and he pulled some strings to get me on that. So shout out to Deepen. And Godspeed to Deepen and his broken arm right now. Broke his
yeah.
arm recently, yeah. So
And
yeah.
then there's the two other matches you've got you, Leo Rush, and Ninja Mac.
Nice.
That match, unbelievable as well.
So that match was supposed to be
That was one of your recent ones.
yeah. It was a different match. Like it was I think yeah, it was me versus Ninja Mac, and then they something happened card wise, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna put Leo Rush in the match, make it a triple threat." And we're sort of like, "All right, the more the merrier." And I mean, you put Leo Rush in anything, it's gonna make it better. Anyway,
Yeah,
you know,
I
he's
mean he's
incredible.
tearing it up at the moment in Japan, isn't he?
Yeah, he's killing it. It's awesome. Like this Super Juniors has been really good, really good.
Why aren't you in it this year? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's a lot of people have been wanting to know that. I mean, there's always whatever
Yeah,
reasons creatively, but I think a lot of it has to do with I ate too much on my first Super Juniors tour, and I think I outweigh the class now. Unfortunately, yeah, got a little heavy, so. Um, Yeah, I would have to cut down quite a bit calorie wise
yeah.
to be back in the Super Juniors.
Maybe
But
next
maybe
year.
next year. Yeah, maybe next year. Just gotta
So,
shrink it in
and
some.
yeah, I mean, and then the other match was, I think you had it in March of 2nd with, I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to have to apologise.
No problem.
El Hinju Valkingo.
Ah, yes, Vikingo. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the like hands down the most fearless person I've ever been in the ring with.
yeah.
Like
He,
insane.
what he can do is, yeah,
Yeah.
he's very
Like
quick.
so fast. Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
little speed demon. What's there's plenty not plenty. There's not plenty of people that can do what he does, right? But there's
Mm.
lots of athletic people and gifted people as far as like the crazy things they can do, right? There's very few that are as full send as as Vikingo. Like he is ape shit. I don't know. Like he's like to be in the ring with him, it's not sometimes you can see it register with people that what they're about to do or they have to do. It's like, oh, I have to do this now. And here we go, right? With him,
Mm.
it's like it's the same face. It's just he could be doing an arm drag or a middle rope inside out 630 and it's the same, I don't know, another day at the office. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
he's he reminds me like of a Rey Mysterio from the WCW days, like
Yeah.
like the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio match from the, is it Halloween Havoc? I think
Mm,
back then.
classic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
good
mean,
classic.
for a lot of people, that I know that match had a huge impact on me
Yeah,
um, back then, and I think for a lot of people, it kind of it really shaped cruiserweight wrestling at the time. Like, not even necessarily like what it was. It more so like opened up kind of this
yeah,
floodgate of what it would become. It was an incredible match. Um, because I think back then in WCW it was like real hard to like get your moment, right? Especially
yeah,
with the cruisers. I mean, like I watched for the cruisers. I was a little, I don't know, hyper kid, jumping off
yeah,
it, whatever. So I was like always focused on the cruisers anyway, because I was like super small for my age too. And so seeing them like get their moment or whatever, but like I always, whenever I was watching cruiserweights in WCW, because I was originally a WCW guy before I jumped ship
Mm.
to WWE,
Oh,
yeah, and started watching that as like I would tape I would tape Raw when Nitro was on, and I would watch
mm.
Nitro live. And then I ended up making the switch. I was one of the millions who made the switch when they spoiled the McFoley win. I was like, oh, Foley won the title, and I switched channels, and I immediately from then on started taping WCW on my VCR
Yeah.
from right, obviously. But and yeah, and then just watch WWE. But one of the things, even looking back now, I'll go back and I'll watch some of the crazy, like classic cruiserweight matches, right?
Mm.
And the whole time, like the commentaries, like, well, what was that? Who cares? NWO later tonight, blah, 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 earlier
Yeah.
tonight, MW. And it was like, you don't give a shit about what's happening in the ring, which is incredible. And you're focused. So I think like that was kind of crazy to me that even then, even with like none of the machine necessarily behind them,
Mm.
outside of just like, let's put them out there and let them do their thing. We need someone to do some stuff between this NWO segment and that NWO segment. Um, and still, even then, they, you know, they they shined through. Incredible, incredible.
It's a very good time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, there's wrestling on pretty much most nights of every week. This day and age, you've got YouTube, you've got the internet where you can
Right.
have have where you want to watch, who you want to watch, who do you want to watch, who do you want to
Mm-hmm.
see. Like you've got AEW, you've got New Japan, you've got Ring of Honor, you've got Impact, you've
Right.
got. I mean, you yourself, you've been on New Japan, you've been on GCW, ROH, you've been on WWE, you've been pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. 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 Which is like it's weird to me because it's like, okay, there's no such thing as too much wrestling, right? Like,
Oh,
and it's back in the day, like trying to get enough wrestling seemed
mm,
impossible. You don't really have that problem. You know, you can find enough wrestling to fill up your free time. You know,
yeah,
there are so many shows now. I think that like people have to be like, oh, put that to the list. You know, add that. I just heard about this show happened. I'm gonna add that to the list, and they'll get to it when they can. You know, because it's so hard. Well, one, you got shows that are competing time slot wise and whatever, and especially if you're into the major companies, the AEWs and WEs and New Japans and stuff like that, ROH, Impact and stuff, then still trying to find the time for the indie stuff, you know. Um, and there's so many indies out there now that are killing it, having banger shows. Like you'll hear about insane shows from West Coast or maybe Prestige or of course PWG, who's been killing it
yeah,
forever, right? Um, and then it's like the PWG hipster method of how they do their releases and stuff. You know, you gotta wait a little while to see their shows, but um, you could see like John Moxley or Orange Cassidy or Swerve or whoever on AEW, and then you can also see them the same week on an indie show
I think
having
that's what.
bangers. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what a good thing about AEW is. They have their own homegrown talent, like Orange Cassidy. You got Danny Garcia. You've got other people there. But then, like you just said, you've got John Moxley, who you can see, who's been in GCW. You've
Right.
got, I mean, everyone just fought everywhere, that's one good thing about AEW that I like. Whereas with WWE, that's another story because they're
Right.
locked in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're locked in. They're locked in, which is kind of cool too. Like
Yeah,
just because you get like it's almost like a supply and demand thing. Like I think both things can work. You know, they've just found a way that works for them, and they're running with it. And AEW has kind of found like a little bit more of a new age way that is working for them, and they're running with that. So that's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see. And now you're having we're approaching Forbidden Door 2.
Yeah,
Those sorts of things are.
they've just sold out Wembley as well.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
What's the date on that show? Sometime this summer, isn't
The
it?
date on that show is August the 27th.
Nice, nice. You going?
London. Do you know what? I'm not, because
Oh,
I'm dying. I want to go, but I'm
yeah.
working.
Brutal.
Yeah.
You'll be watching though, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you'll find a
Definitely.
way. You'll find a way.
You have no idea.
Yeah,
You recently did a tour in Australia, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
With World
Last
Series
summer.
Wrestling.
What? Yeah, World Series. Yeah.
How was that?
Interesting, awesome, loved it. Very tiring. We didn't have a lot of dead time, and I had just come off of a tour in Japan. Like I went from Japan
Yeah.
to Australia. And that would be my one and only complaint would be the fact that I didn't have enough time to do much of anything outside of the shows themselves. And like when you're in Australia, you want to,
It's huge, isn't it?
yeah, you want to, yeah, it's crazy, but you want to be able to experience it, right? And I got to at least experience the foods, which is my whole thing. Like anywhere I go, I want to eat my way around the world,
Yeah.
And company wise, man, World Series Wrestling is an incredible experience to work for them. Like they really
Yeah.
care about the talent. They take care of you the whole time. Anything you need. And they're just very professional and they have their shit together. It's like they're an indie company, right? But they run very pro. Like they run a very professional product. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah. Have you watched any of their stuff?
I have. I watched
Yeah.
that because obviously, time difference and
Right.
getting the time to watch wrestling and work and everything. But
Right. You just added
I
to the
watched,
list.
yeah, I watched that 6-man that you did with Robbie
Oh,
Eagles and John Down Under and Brian Cage and Flip Gordon. I watched that match and that was a good match. And then I saw you dancing at the end.
Yeah. Good luck with that. You know what was hard about that dance? One, I didn't know the dance. Two, we were in a ring and then we have like 6 dudes dancing in the ring.
Yeah.
And it's like just bouncing everywhere because it's just boards, right? And they're just going to town. I'm like, I can't even stand in this ring, much less dance. But yeah, that Australia. The weirdest thing to me is I can't remember. Maybe it was in Adelaide. One of the cities that we were in was a half of a time zone difference. So it was only 30-minute time difference. I was like, is there anywhere else in the world that's like this? It's so strange. It was like if it was 1 p.m. in Sydney, then it was 1:30 p.m. there.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Was that your first time there?
That was my first time in Australia. Yeah. Which was cool too because we got to hit some major cities: Adelaide, Melbourne,
Yeah.
Sydney.
You going back?
Yeah. I think so. We talked about it then, of course, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll skip the next tour, and then we'll bring you back after that, whatever." So yeah, hopefully. I mean, we all had like a very good like back
Yeah.
and forth. Like me and that company, like they loved what I did, I loved what they did. So I think so. I think I'll be back for sure. I mean, it's just hard to tell in wrestling anytime. Like you can be, just things just move different in wrestling. It's a very weird.
Never say never, hey?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if I was back there maybe this fall or something. Yeah.
So who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
Oh man. Mount Rushmore. I always get stuck like the first person always Hayabusa for me. Hayabusa's number one forever. Then and these are like personal favorites. Jeff Hardy's on it. Rob Van Dam's on it.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels on it.
Yeah.
But it's always hard too because I have so many people like that I just have like major respect for that would be on a Mount Rushmore in
Yeah.
a specific topic, right? Like even like John Cena, even like of course like Eddie Guerrero.
I love
People
Eddie.
like yeah, Eddie's it's hard not to put him on any,
You've
you
got to
know.
have Eddie Guerrero on there.
Yeah, like which is funny too because my girlfriend, she wasn't a wrestling fan or anything. She actually wasn't allowed to watch it growing up and stuff like that. So when she was with me, take that, girlfriend's mom. Now she's with a wrestler. Now she watches it all the time.
Look
Yeah, she
here.
wasn't allowed to watch it and stuff, right? And then when I was like introducing her into like wrestling in general, I showed her Eddie Guerrero, and she was like, "Wow!" She was just like blown away. Because I mean, for a non-wrestling fan at the time, anyway, she's
Yeah.
vetted now. She's been with me for over 5 years now, so she's fully entrenched in the wrestling world. But like watching Eddie Guerrero for the first time, it was just really cool to experience, like getting to show someone Eddie Guerrero for the first time. It's
Yeah.
like, oh wait, we see this, So yeah, shout out Eddie. She
Hell of a
immediately was a fan
performer.
with that. Yeah, incredible, incredible. Yeah. It's gonna be hard for anyone to ever reach the Eddie Guerrero level. That'll be a
I don't think of
hard.
any. I don't
Yeah.
think I've seen anyone come
No
close.
way. No way. It's
His in-ring work was brilliant. He's good on the mic. His
right.
comedy. He's just
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. The charisma is just unreal. Unreal. That man was incredible. R.I.P. R.I.P. to a great one.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I got to meet him.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, it was funny the other day, not to be a name drop guy, but the other day, me and DDP were just DMing on Instagram. Shout out Diamond Dallas Page, and um, he had posted the clip actually of Vikingo 630 through the table, and he tagged me in it on Instagram and stuff. And so I just DM'd him and was like, "Hey, thanks for the rub, man. Like, I appreciate it. Like, I'm the guy on the table. Most people are not tagging that guy, right?" So I was like, "Hey, appreciate it, whatever." And he was like, "Oh, whatever. Like, you're welcome, no problem, whatever." And then we were just chatting a bit, and then he told me about like Eddie Guerrero, like putting him over and helping him out and stuff like that. And but it was just really cool. And like listening to that, or I guess reading that story, it was like, man, like imagine getting to sit under that learning tree backstage, like Eddie Guerrero giving you any sort of advice, Yeah.
Locker room leader, weren't he?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. He became one, which is crazy too. To think, like we were saying earlier, Halloween Havoc Eddie, right? Like
Yeah.
low on the totem pole, killing it. Still then, like if you watch that, there's differences obviously just in like the seasoning of him from that point to his like title reign in WWE and stuff. But even then, he was fucking killing it. And to see that, like the progression of Eddie like that, like not many of the cruisers. I mean, Jericho did it, right?
Yeah.
Benoit, right? But like that class of cruisers was like, man, crazy.
I mean,
Like the
unreal.
talent. Yeah. Legends.
Yeah.
Legends. Awesome.
So one final question.
Hit me with it.
If you could, so it's one final question, but it's two-part.
A two-parter. That's smart. Smart.
If you could pick two people
hmm
from each promotion, so AEW and WWE, who you've not fought yet, who would it be and why?
Mm.
Who would you love to get in the ring with?
From AEW and from WWE, two separate matches. I've never thought about it.
On the spot.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's also very interesting because there's so many different reasons for different things, right? Um,
First person jumps to your mind.
First person that jumps into my mind in AEW is Sammy Guevara.
Yes.
I think we would have
The Spanish God.
Yeah, I think we'd have a great match. I'm not even sure why he's the first person that jumps in my mind. I like his work. I like him. Whatever. I might catch heat for it. I know he has heat on the internet sometimes. Who knows? This week they might love him. This week he's just good at his job, I think. And Sammy for AEW. I mean, there's plenty of their rosters so vast anyway, right? And then WWE, I would want, like, I just think he's incredible in so many ways. And, like, I mean, I don't think many people are necessarily disagreeing with that. But it's weird how much love and praise and, like, even rub from the company and whatever he's received, but I still think he's underrated is Seth Rollins. I still think Seth Rollins is underrated. Like, and I would love to wrestle him. And the reason, I mean, it's just, he actually mentioned it. I saw him mention it. I just saw like a quote or something from him, but he mentioned like kind of, will he ever be that guy? And it's hard to see him being that guy.
Yeah.
With Roman Reigns being at the helm, you know, because he's Roman Reigns. It's like hard to get out of that sort of shadow. And that's I think especially for him where he came up in the Shield and yada yada too. But yeah, incredible talent.
Seth Rollins has been on the map for the last so many years. He was, even through the pandemic, he was putting on great matches. He's good on the mic. He's a good storyteller, good charisma.
What was that match he did? It was, I can't even remember who it was with now, just off the top of my head, where it was like maybe the longest match on Raw or something like that. Maybe
I think he did a gauntlet match, didn't
he? Something like that. And I just remember watching that and being like, "Holy shit!" Because all the way through it, he was just going hard. Oh man, incredible, awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say thank you for coming on, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak to me. I'd have you on again. I mean, I want to sit here and talk to you all night for me, all day for you.
We're just getting started, you know. But yeah, I'd love to come back on as soon as I line up dates for coming over to the UK, Europe in general, because I know I'm talking to a few different places over there. As soon as I line up dates, we'll hop back on, cover some more questions, talk some more, and that way we can talk about those dates.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
No problem, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thank you, Jordan.
Cheers, Alex. Thank you, mate. Take care.